I'm an antique book restorer, married into the New York Circle, by Ethan Sterling, the crown prince of the elite, all thanks to a life debt. Yet, in our 7 years of marriage, he cheated countless times, not even sparing my friends. This time, he brought a starlet back to our mansion for their rendezvous. 8 months pregnant, I calmly washed their clothes, but the starlet complained that the calluses on my hands had snagged her silk underwear. She shoved me down the stairs from the second floor, grinding her heel into my right wrist. The scar from when I shielded Ethan Sterling from shrapnel 7 years ago burst open, mingling with fresh blood. My wrist was fractured, and I was bleeding heavily below, but Ethan Sterling didn't even spare me a glance. Who told you to mess up even such a small thing like laundry? Don't think you can sit pretty as Mrs. Sterling just because you're pregnant. Trash is trash, never measuring up to a single strand of Sophia Bellwether's hair. From the day you replaced Sophia Bellwether in marrying me, you should have expected this. With that, he left with the starlet, Scarlet Woods. By the time I was rushed to the hospital, the baby in my womb had already died. Waking up, I looked at Grandma Sterling with a heart as cold as ashes. Let me go. I don't want this life debt anymore. 01 Grandma Sterling sighed. I had hoped that having a child would make Ethan Sterling change his mind. I didn't expect him to still be so resentful about you replacing Sophia Bellwether in marrying him. Lily Carter, have you ever resented this old woman? It was clearly Sophia Bellwether who ran away from the wedding, abandoning him to go abroad, yet you bore the blame. I shook my head numbly. It's all in the past. Now, I just want to leave. The damaged area below surged with another gush of heat, staining the pristine white sheets crimson. Grandma Sterling was shocked and quickly called for a doctor. Seeing my pale face, Grandma Sterling, usually decisive and efficient, couldn't help but tear up. She hastily instructed the housekeeper to summon Ethan Sterling. The housekeeper quickly returned, reporting, Mr. Sterling is with the starlet Scarlet Woods, having a rendezvous at the Sterling Hotel. Mr. Sterling also said that giving birth is no big deal, just a breeding machine. If it's broken, throw it away. The air in the room suddenly froze. Grandma Sterling trembled with rage, her jade bracelet striking the bed frame with a crisp, shattering sound. At that moment, the doctor, having completed the examination, entered with the report. The patient's uterus is severely damaged, and she may not be able to conceive again. If she had been brought in sooner, it wouldn't have been this severe, and the baby might have been. I touched my flat stomach, muttering, it's better this way, it's better this way. Grandma Sterling wiped away her tears, still wanting to make one last effort. She placed a stock transfer agreement in front of me. Lily Carter, Ethan Sterling isn't a bad kid at heart. You've been married for 7 years after all. Why not give him another chance? As long as I'm here, no one can shake your position as Mrs. Sterling. I remained silent, simply showing her the video that the starlet Scarlet Woods had just sent me. In the video, the two were entangled passionately. Scarlet Woods purred, Mr. Sterling, I heard Lily Carter had a massive hemorrhage during childbirth. Aren't you worried at all? Ethan Sterling pinned Scarlet Woods against the French windows, as if hearing a joke. Worried? If she dies on the operating table, wouldn't that free up the spot for you to be Mrs. Sterling? Forget about her. Don't you want to have my baby? What followed were scenes too explicit to bear, causing Grandma Sterling's veins to throb with anger. After calming down, she spoke slowly. I always thought Ethan Sterling would eventually let go of Sophia Bellwether, but I didn't expect that after 7 years, he would still harbor resentment towards you. Go. I harmed you. I shouldn't have forced you to marry Ethan Sterling. With your skills, you deserve a wider world. It's just that, now that you've reached this point, the matter of Sophia Bellwether. I closed my eyes tightly, replying woodenly, don't worry, I'll take the secret of Sophia Bellwether eloping with someone to my grave. As I spoke, the nurse brought the baby over. The poor child, blue all over from suffocation. Just one glance was too much to bear. I turned my head away, struggling to compose myself. Bury the child at the Sterling family estate. I want nothing. Grandma Sterling hunched over, carrying the dead child as she left the room. The tears she had been holding back finally burst forth. 7 years ago, the Sterling family of 3 was on their way back from vacation when a truck ran a red light and crashed into them. Mr. and Mrs. Sterling died on the spot, and Ethan Sterling was seriously injured and unconscious. My mother and I happened to be passing by. At the last moment before the explosion, I pulled Ethan Sterling from the car. Flying debris pierced my right wrist, leaving a scar that would never heal. But Sophia Bellwether, who was engaged to him, eloped with someone to a foreign country at that time. Grandma Sterling feared that he would be devastated and unable to recover when he woke up. She proposed that I marry Ethan Sterling in exchange for using Mrs. Sterling's lungs to treat my seriously ill mother. Ethan Sterling, upon waking up and learning that I had traded a life debt for the position of Mrs. Sterling, wasn't angry. Instead, he was very grateful to me, treating me gently and intimately. He even said he would give me a grand wedding to silence the gossip. I pitied him for losing his parents and his lover, staying by his bedside day and night, wiping his body and getting up before dawn to stew soup. I personally learned massage, hoping he would recover soon. Ethan Sterling would tenderly stroke my hair at that time, saying softly, "I'm lucky to have you." At that moment, I only wanted to heal his heart and build a happy family with him. But on our wedding day, he abandoned me in public because of a phone call from Sophia Bellwether, making me a laughingstock of the New York circle. Confused, I ran to question him. Ethan Sterling coldly played Sophia Bellwether's recording, every word an accusation that I had used my gratitude to force her away. "You're such a good actress. I never realized you were so vain. You forced Sophia Bellwether to leave the country to climb the social ladder." Then he sneered, "Right, to please me, you even used your antique restoring hands to clean my body. So trashy. What wouldn't you do?" I was thunderstruck, wanting to explain, but Sophia Bellwether was an orphan of a war comrade of Grandpa Sterling. Grandma Sterling didn't want to ruin her image in Ethan Sterling's eyes, so she told me to keep it a secret. I begged him to let me go. But he took out my mother's medical report and said cruelly, "My mother's lungs are still in your mother. Want to leave? Then don't blame me for taking them out." I shuddered and didn't dare to say another word. From then on, Ethan Sterling went even further. He cheated constantly and always brought them home, forcing me to serve them. I heard the sounds of his intimacy with countless women. I also washed countless pairs of underwear that he and other women had worn. I thought that as long as my mother was alive, I would endure even if I was breaking down. Unfortunately, my mother only lived for 7 years after the surgery due to chronic rejection. I wanted to leave the Sterling family estate with my mother's ashes. But unexpectedly, I found out I was pregnant. Grandma Sterling and Ethan Sterling almost begged me, "Lily Carter, keep this child." Ethan Sterling said he'll change. I thought Ethan Sterling was forced, but he really didn't bring anyone back. He also found the best gynecologist in the country and took me for prenatal checkups. No matter what, the child is innocent. He also hired a professional nanny to take care of my life. He would occasionally talk to me about the child, eat together, and take walks. I thought that after 7 years of waiting, hope had finally arrived. However, Sophia Bellwether made another phone call, saying that I had sent someone to flaunt my pregnancy in front of her, who had just had a miscarriage. It was the first time I saw Ethan Sterling so angry. He grabbed my hair, dragged me out of bed, and stomped on my stomach with his leather shoes. Just as he was about to press down hard, the baby in my womb kicked. Ethan Sterling was stunned for a moment, released me, and left. I curled up on the ground, hugging my stomach tightly. My child was a good child who would protect his mother. Unfortunately, that little life, kicking desperately, never got to open its eyes and see the world. I wiped away my tears. Perhaps the only thing to be comforted by was that Ethan Sterling and I were both free. Looking at the letter in my email, I replied, Professor Davis, I've thought it over. I'll be there for work the day after tomorrow. Lost in thought, Ethan Sterling was standing at the door of the ward at some point. He said angrily, Lily Carter, did you go to Grandma again to complain? She scolded me, and I'm not in the mood to accompany Scarlett Woods on set. If it had been before, I would have explained and apologized humbly, fearing that he would get angry and take my mother's lungs. But now, I only had a calm, numb expression. Seeing that I was silent, he sneered. Don't think that just because your mother is dead, you have no weakness in my hands. Don't think that just because you have a child, you have the guts to challenge me. I'm the heir to the Sterling family estate. As long as you and the child are in the Sterling family estate, you will listen to me obediently. I clenched my fists. I knew the consequences of not being obedient. The first time Ethan Sterling brought someone home, I still thought about our past feelings and wanted to salvage things, so I took advantage of his shower to kick the woman out. Unexpectedly, I was met with Ethan Sterling's crazy revenge. He pressed me in front of his mistress, making me kowtow a full 100 times until my forehead was bloody and I was sent to the hospital due to excessive blood loss. And that night, he and his mistress had a wild night on our wedding bed until dawn. The last bit of love I had was lost with the bright red blood. From then on, no matter how outrageous Ethan Sterling was, I pretended not to see it. I silently endured all kinds of humiliation and abuse from Ethan Sterling. But now, my mother is dead, and the child couldn't be saved. I was too weak to argue. Seeing that I was unmoved, he grabbed my chin and said fiercely, Who are you putting on this heartbroken act for? I'm taking Scarlett Woods back to the mansion tonight. You go check out of the hospital and come back to apologize to her. Saying that, a malicious smile appeared on his face. We need you to hand wash the silk underwear we wore after our lovemaking. He stared at me, hoping to see a sad, painful expression. But I still had that numb look. Perhaps he was too bored. Ethan Sterling pushed me away. Turning to the little nurse next to him, he asked, Where's the child? Boy or girl? Take me to see him. The nurse panicked. The child is all ready. Just as she opened her mouth, she was interrupted by Ethan Sterling's cell phone ringing. As soon as he answered the call, his face changed drastically. Then he slapped me to the ground. Lily Carter, what did you do to Scarlett Woods? If anything happens to her, I won't spare you. Already hemorrhaging, I started bleeding again because of the fall. The nurse quickly helped me up. Mr. Sterling, Mrs. Sterling is weak after childbirth. You'll kill her like this. Seeing the pool of red on the floor, Ethan Sterling was momentarily stunned. But then Scarlett Woods's cries came from the other end of the phone. He hesitated for a few seconds and then left quickly. The nurse looked at me with pity. But my heart didn't stir in the slightest. My heart was already dead. What was there to care about? When the trending search about Scarlett Woods being removed from the film crew popped up, I finally understood the source of Ethan Sterling's fury. Grandma Sterling, after losing her great-grandson, was putting pressure on the entertainment industry to completely ban Scarlett Woods. Scarlett Woods thought this was my doing and cried to Ethan Sterling to complain. How could I, a Mrs. Sterling in name only, have so much power? It was such an obvious flaw, but Ethan Sterling didn't even think about it carefully before hitting me and questioning me, regardless of the fact that I had just given birth. Not only that. Scarlett Woods also flaunted the things Ethan Sterling had given her online. Every item was more gorgeous than what he had given me. She even ostentatiously showed off an antique painting that I had liked for a long time. Scarlett Woods declared online, he said he would love me like this painting, for 1,000 years. Ethan Sterling had never given me such valuable gifts. When our relationship was at its best, he only gave me some modern antique books. I used to think that he didn't understand the industry and didn't know how to choose. But it turned out that wasn't the case. He knew exactly what was valuable. It was just that I didn't deserve it. Thinking back to the past, how ridiculous I was. I was actually touched by the things that Ethan Sterling casually gave me and took it as love. Only now did I understand that blaming all of this on Sophia Bellwether's provocation was just wishful thinking on my part. This man was like this by nature and would never change for anyone. With this in mind, I just wanted to leave as soon as possible with my mother's ashes. I ignored the attending physician's advice and checked out of the hospital early. I returned to the mansion alone to pack my luggage. As soon as I opened the door, I heard Scarlet Woods' moans. I didn't want to disturb them, but I had to pass through the living room to get to the bedroom. I supported my weak body and waited at the door. The noise inside stopped only when I could barely stand. Seeing me return, Scarlet Woods slowly put on her clothes. The marks all over her body seemed to be deliberately displayed to me. Ethan Sterling wasn't uncomfortable at all and just stared at me. I didn't cry or make a scene. I went upstairs with a blank expression, as if I hadn't seen anything. Perhaps my indifferent look angered Ethan Sterling. As I was packing my luggage, the sound of firecrackers began to ring out. I went downstairs and saw Ethan Sterling setting off fireworks with Scarlet Woods in the backyard. Scarlet Woods said meaningfully, "Today is a really joyous day, worth celebrating." The anger in my chest exploded instantly. I roared and lunged forward, slapping Scarlet Woods hard in the face. Ethan Sterling kicked me away, sending me crashing into a flower pot behind me. My forehead hit the corner of the blue and white porcelain pot, and it swelled up instantly. Ethan Sterling's face was gloomy. "What are you going crazy about? You haven't made Scarlet Woods suffer enough, have you? Do you want to go to Grandma to complain again? Don't think you can do whatever you want just because you have a child to back you up. If you don't restrain yourself, don't blame me for giving the child to someone else to raise." Child. Did you even know about the child? She killed the child. I struggled to get up, wanting to say something. But my body couldn't support me and I fell down. When I woke up again, I was back in the hospital bed. My forehead was bandaged, and my body had been medicated. In a daze, Ethan Sterling walked in. Seeing that I was awake, he seemed relieved. "If you're not feeling well, don't walk around." Who wouldn't be angry at getting slapped for no reason? I was a little too heavy-handed, but that was because you were wrong first. I'll let it go this time, but be more careful in the future. Facing Ethan Sterling's rare softness, I was silent. A hint of apology appeared in Ethan Sterling's eyes. "Tomorrow, I'll go with you to the Sterling family estate to see the child. I haven't seen him since he was born." I said in a hoarse voice, "No need. You're busy." "Don't worry, I've settled Scarlet Woods. She won't appear at home anymore. Don't be mad." I was exhausted and didn't bother to explain to him, so I nodded lightly. I thought Ethan Sterling would leave immediately, but he stayed by my bedside. Let him stay then. I didn't care anymore. Just as I was about to fall asleep again, a special ringtone rang, and Ethan Sterling stood up abruptly. Looking at the incoming call, his eyes shone with extraordinary joy. The tone of his voice when he answered the phone was also the most gentle and careful I had ever heard. He got up and rushed out, knocking the metal chair beside the bed to the ground. But he didn't notice it. Let alone remember me on the bed. Even though I was used to being abandoned, my heart still couldn't help but ache at that moment. Until the next day, Ethan Sterling still hadn't returned. But I still went to the Sterling family estate alone in black. Because today was the child's funeral. This child was what I had gained with half my life. When the labor pains blurred my consciousness, I seemed to hear his weak cries. But it was all just an illusion. I wiped the tears from the corners of my eyes. It was better this way. It would save me from being too attached, making it difficult for me to let go. Grandma Sterling handed me the divorce agreement, already signed, with a hunched back. "Lily Carter, the Sterling family is sorry to you and your child. May you rest in peace." In this marriage, I had exhausted all my energy. At this moment, all that was left was fatigue, with no attachment left. Ethan Sterling didn't appear until the child was buried. I was too weak to argue and just wanted to go back to the mansion to leave with my mother's ashes. But I never expected to see Sophia Bellwether by the pool at the mansion. She didn't hide and looked at me provocatively in her swimsuit. How does it feel to lose a child? It's not good, is it? Lily Carter, I've spent a lot of effort over the years to make Ethan Sterling hate you. And yet, you're stuck to him like a leech. How shameless can you be? Did you think you could replace me in his heart just because you had a child? Let me tell you, don't even think about it. Even if I don't want Ethan Sterling will only ever have me in his heart. I had long seen through her tricks and was too lazy to pay attention. Whatever makes you happy. Sophia Bellwether was choked, her face red with anger. You really won't shed tears until you see the coffin. I'll tell you the truth. Your child was alive when he was born. I was afraid you wouldn't give up, so I had someone smother your child in the incubator. My pupils shrank, and I looked at Sophia Bellwether in disbelief. You. Sophia Bellwether approached me, her eyebrows dancing with excitement. That's right, when your child was being smothered to death, he struggled so hard. It was more pleasant than your screams during childbirth. But it was useless. I watched him die remotely. Enough. I completely lost control and grabbed Sophia Bellwether's neck. But a great force pushed me into the pool. Ethan Sterling held Sophia Bellwether in his arms, his face gloomy. You still can't learn to be content. I desperately grabbed the edge of the pool and shouted at him. The child. Before I could finish, Ethan Sterling stepped on my hand. You want to use the child again? Lily Carter, did I give you too much face yesterday that you don't know who you are anymore? If anything happens to Sophia Bellwether, I won't let you go. After he finished speaking, he left with Sophia Bellwether. I was soaked and struggled to crawl back to the bedroom. I took off my wedding ring, hugged my mother's ashes, and whispered, Mom, let's go home. After spending a week playing with Sophia Bellwether in the country, Ethan Sterling remembered me. He found an excuse to return to the mansion but found it empty. Ethan Sterling hurriedly rushed back to the Sterling family estate, guessing that I was with the child. As soon as he walked into the courtyard of the Sterling family estate, he was shocked by the wreaths everywhere. Just as he was about to ask, he heard Sophia Bellwether's familiar voice coming from inside. Grandma Sterling, I know I was wrong. I was bewitched and ran away with someone, leaving Ethan Sterling. It's been 7 years since that happened. No one will know about it. As for Lily Carter, her carefully cared for child is dead, so she definitely won't be back. Just let me marry Ethan Sterling and carry on the Sterling family line. Ethan Sterling's body trembled, almost thinking he was hallucinating. But he was too familiar with the voice he had longed for day and night. Sophia Bellwether inside continued to talk. But the meanness and arrogance in her words completely overturned the image of his white moonlight. It's not that I deliberately want to snatch Ethan Sterling. You see, after all these years, he still can't forget me. I can just snap my fingers, and he'll abandon Lily Carter, who just gave birth, to be with me, wishing he could give me his heart. Only I can make him settle down. Even if what she said was true, it didn't taste good. And she eloped? Ethan Sterling kicked open the door in anger, scaring the two people inside. Sophia Bellwether's face turned unnatural, and she quickly stepped forward and took Ethan Sterling's arm. Ethan Sterling, when did you come? Why didn't you tell me? Ethan Sterling shook her off violently and grabbed her wrist. Why did you leave in the first place? Did Lily Carter force you to leave? Tell me everything. Sophia Bellwether trembled and then said aggrievedly, Of course, Lily Carter forced me to leave. I love you so much. Ethan Sterling smiled coldly and threw her to the ground. You still want to lie to me? Grandma Sterling tapped the ground heavily with her cane twice, regretting it. It's my fault. It's all my fault. I created this mess. Back then, you were seriously injured in a car accident, and Sophia Bellwether was seduced abroad by a playboy. I was afraid you wouldn't be able to handle it, so I lied and said that Lily Carter forced you to marry her out of gratitude. Sophia Bellwether sat on the ground, crying her eyes out. Ethan Sterling, I was really deceived back then. This truth, which came 7 years late, struck him like a hammer. Ethan Sterling felt his temples throbbing. It wasn't Lily Carter who forced Sophia Bellwether away. She ran off with someone herself. Then, what were all those years of almost pathological torment that he had inflicted on Lily Carter? He had repaid the purest kindness with the most cruel methods. What did it all amount to? Seeing that Ethan Sterling was no longer angry, Sophia Bellwether relaxed. Ethan Sterling really loved her so much. So what if she was exposed? As long as she softened and cried, and talked about the hardships she had suffered abroad over the years, Ethan Sterling would definitely forgive her. With this in mind, Sophia Bellwether crawled forward on her knees, grabbing the hem of his suit pants with her fingertips. Ethan Sterling, it was all my fault before. I let you down. I've long regretted it. Can we start over? Ethan Sterling looked down at her, suddenly bending down and pinching her chin. Start over? How do we start over? Sophia Bellwether quickly wrapped her hands around Ethan Sterling and said charmingly, of course, by letting me marry you. I know you had a wedding gown made for me back then. When the wedding gown was mentioned, Ethan Sterling's first reaction was actually the way Lily Carter looked in her wedding gown at that time. Although that wedding gown was simple and elegant, it set off Lily Carter's increasingly stubborn and aloof nature like a water lily. Just like her personality, even though she knew that he was torturing her, she still did as she was told without saying a word. He had even left her alone at the wedding because of a phone call from Sophia Bellwether. Thinking of this, Ethan Sterling suddenly came back to his senses and pushed Sophia Bellwether away. What nonsense are you talking about? I already have a wife. Sophia Bellwether stood up, disregarding her act as a pitiful woman. You mean Lily Carter? Didn't you divorce her? Ethan Sterling shouted, shut up. Who said we got divorced? Grandma Sterling closed her eyes and took out the divorce agreement. Looking at the words written in black and white on the cover, Ethan Sterling was stunned in disbelief. The words Lily Carter were firm and powerful, as if one could see the signer's determination. After a moment, Ethan Sterling sneered. He tore the divorce agreement in his hand to shreds. I don't remember ever signing this. Did you force Lily Carter again? Ethan Sterling didn't believe she would get a divorce. All these years, no matter how outrageous he was, he could feel that Lily Carter loved him. Moreover, they now had a child. Lily Carter had one more thing to worry about. He didn't believe that Lily Carter would be willing to leave. Grandma Sterling sighed helplessly. Lily Carter proposed it on her own initiative. She wanted to leave after her mother died. If it weren't for her pregnancy. That was the last chance she gave you. Unfortunately, you didn't cherish it, alas. Thinking of what he had done during this period, Ethan Sterling clenched his fists. But we have a child. How could she be willing to leave the child? When the child was mentioned, the tears that Grandma Sterling had just stopped started flowing again. The child was born dead. Ethan Sterling was struck by lightning. He thought of the wreaths he had seen when he came in. Ethan Sterling rushed out and saw the words, 18th generation of Sterling family's eldest grandson, written on them. He felt as if all the blood had been drained from his body, and he collapsed powerlessly to the ground. He muttered to himself, what happened? Why did the baby die? Unable to bear it any longer, Grandma Sterling raised her cane and struck Ethan Sterling. That mistress of yours pushed Lily Carter down the stairs, causing a premature birth. The baby missed the best time for resuscitation and suffocated in Lily Carter's womb. Lily Carter also suffered severe damage to her uterus due to massive bleeding, and she will never be able to have children again. A sin. This is all your sin. Ethan Sterling turned pale as he thought of his own ruthlessness that day. Lily Carter was lying on the ground, begging him in pain to take her to the hospital. But Scarlet Woods said that the baby was so big already, nothing would happen, and that Lily Carter was just using the baby to gain sympathy. He, too, was as if bewitched, and believed Scarlet Woods' words. Even after seeing Lily Carter bleeding, he still left. Grandma Sterling saw that something was wrong with him and struck him heavily again. "I heard that you left her at the mansion. How could you be so cruel?" Ethan Sterling despairingly covered his head. What had he done? Seeing his pitiful state, Grandma Sterling instructed someone to hand him the baby's ashes and the special bracelet that I had left behind. She also went back to her room to rest, heartbroken. That was something he had personally designed for Lily Carter after recovering from the car accident. At that time, although he was saddened by Sophia Bellwether's departure, he was also grateful to Lily Carter for her life debt. Especially since she had injured her right hand while saving him, which affected his work. So, after she proposed to marry him, he felt that he should take responsibility. As for Sophia Bellwether, he could only say that they were not meant to be. At that time, Lily Carter had taken care of him, staying up for countless days and nights. Clumsily learning how to take care of people. When Ethan Sterling went to find her with the bracelet, she was still learning to cook from a 5-star chef. When the bracelet was placed on her wrist, it perfectly covered the scar from saving Ethan Sterling. Lily Carter's eyes lit up instantly, brighter than the diamonds on the bracelet. At that time, Ethan Sterling thought they would be very happy. But all of this was ruined by a phone call from Sophia Bellwether on their wedding day. "Ethan, don't be sad. It's Lily Carter's fault that the baby is gone. That kind of trash, born to bring misfortune, should have gotten out of the Sterling family long ago. You still have me, I'll give you a child." Ethan Sterling snapped out of his thoughts and saw Sophia Bellwether's smug face. He slapped her hard across the face. "Someone as vicious as you is not fit to be compared with Lily Carter. And you still dare to dream of having children for me, keep dreaming. Get out of the Sterling family, and if I ever see you again, don't blame me for not considering our years of affection." As Ethan Sterling spoke, he hugged the urn tightly and knelt before Grandma Sterling's door. "Grandma, Lily Carter is, and will always be, my only wife." After saying that, Ethan Sterling quickly walked out. He ordered the driver to return to the mansion as quickly as possible. Along the way, Ethan Sterling frantically called Lily Carter, but only heard the mechanical voice saying that the phone was switched off. WeChat, email. All accounts had been cancelled. Returning to the mansion and seeing the empty house, Ethan Sterling's last hope was shattered. Lily Carter. Lily Carter. Repeated calls went unanswered. Ethan Sterling lost his footing and fell to the ground. It was then that he saw the wedding ring rolling under the table. Ethan Sterling clutched the ring, tears streaming down his face. "Lily Carter, where have you gone? I was wrong, please come back." But there was no response. Ethan Sterling roared despairingly at his assistant, "Investigate. Even if you have to search the entire country, every corner of the world, you must find out where Lily Carter has gone. If you can't find her, you can all die." Ethan Sterling remembered the last day he saw Lily Carter. He had kicked her into the pool, and she was crying out about the baby. As if she had something to say to him. Ethan Sterling's face was gloomy as he said coldly, "Go to the hospital. Find out exactly how the baby died." Ethan Sterling didn't let off any of the medical staff who had been involved in the birth, and conducted a thorough investigation of everyone. Finally, he found out that one of the nurses had received an unexplained sum of money. Ethan Sterling brought the person back to the mansion and interrogated her severely. Only then did he learn the truth from her. "Mr. Sterling, it was Sophia Bellwether who told me to turn up the temperature of the incubator. My brother owes a lot of money, I didn't do it on purpose. Please let me go." The assistant, his face pale, handed the video he had found to Ethan Sterling. The video clearly showed how Sophia Bellwether remotely directed the murder of the baby. Turn it up to 100 degrees. Let this little bastard taste what it's like to live worse than death, ha 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 ha." Immediately afterwards, The video was filled with the baby's shrill cries. Ethan Sterling's heart felt as if it had been clenched tightly, and it hurt terribly. He angrily smashed the phone on the nurse's head. He was surrounded by an overwhelming murderous intent. Someone, find Sophia Bellwether for me. Half a month passed, and Ethan Sterling had scoured the country using the Sterling family's power, but he still couldn't find Lily Carter. A comprehensive search by land, sea, and air also yielded nothing. Ethan Sterling couldn't vent his anger because he couldn't find me. He locked Sophia Bellwether in the basement and made her experience the helplessness of the baby's death, torturing her every day. The mansion echoed with weak moans. When the assistant cautiously reported the situation again, Ethan Sterling finally lost control. He slammed a crystal ashtray heavily at the assistant's feet. No matter what method you use, you must find her for me. Does the Sterling family keep you around to do nothing? You can't even find one living person. After Ethan Sterling vented his anger, he felt as if all his strength had been drained. He staggered to the crib and gently stroked the box inside. Baby, wait a little longer, Mommy will be home soon. When the time comes, Mommy and Daddy will take you to see the cherry blossoms. At this time, I was completely unaware of all of this. Because I injured my right wrist saving Ethan Sterling, the Sterling family assumed that I had lost my ability to restore antique books. But in reality, I am left-handed. Professor Davis made me use my right hand on a daily basis to protect my abilities, so my secret was never exposed. This time, I participated in a confidential cultural relic restoration project with my mentor. I worked in a remote underground cave, completely concealing my tracks. That was why Ethan Sterling couldn't find me. I hadn't touched a cultural relic in 7 years, but it didn't feel unfamiliar at all. In front of the workbench in the underground cave, I stared at the broken scriptures, my left hand skillfully picking up a sable brush. The old injury on my right wrist was still aching faintly, but it didn't prevent my left hand from accurately mixing mineral pigments. Professor Davis's painstaking efforts to make me eat and write with my right hand all those years ago had finally paid off. When my left hand applied gold leaf to the missing parts of the scriptures, a young researcher next to me exclaimed, "Teacher Lin, this technique is even more delicate than what's recorded in the literature." Mike patted me on the shoulder and said, "No wonder Professor Davis specifically asked for you, this hand is truly amazing." At this moment, I am a master of cultural relic restoration. No longer just the Mrs. Sterling, in name only. I thought I would never see Ethan Sterling again. Unexpectedly, as soon as the project ended and I walked out of the cave, the first person I saw was him. He was thin and his face was full of exhaustion and weariness. His eyes were sunken, his beard was scruffy, and he was a completely different person from the spirited man I remembered. But his eyes lit up when he saw me. "Lily Carter, I've come to take you home." I sighed and wanted to ignore him. But he desperately blocked my path. "Lily Carter, I've finally found you. I apologize to you, I misjudged people and made a terrible mistake. I know it was all Sophia Bellwether's fault. She stirred up trouble and killed our child. You've suffered so much all these years. Don't worry, I've already avenged our child. I will make it up to you in the future, Lily Carter, come home with me." In Ethan Sterling's eyes, there was the joy of finding something he had lost. And a deep affection that I had never seen before. Not even in Sophia Bellwether's eyes. But I only felt a surge of anger rising from the bottom of my heart, and I said coldly, "Stop daydreaming, I will never forgive you, and I don't want to see you again." The light in Ethan Sterling's eyes dimmed instantly. He took a step forward, wanting to approach me, but Mike stopped him. He shouted anxiously, "Lily Carter, I really know I was wrong, as long as you can forgive me, I'll do anything." I looked at him, my heart without a single ripple, only endless disappointment. "Forgive you? You killed my child, how can I forgive you? You're only doing all this to make up for your own guilt." Ethan Sterling wanted to say something, but he was pushed away by the project members. He could only struggle and shout, "Lily Carter, I really know I was wrong, please give me another chance." I didn't turn back, and walked away with my mentor. A few days later, a huge sum of money was deposited into my account. The message read, "Please forgive this sinner." Mike rushed up to me excitedly, his eyes wide with shock. He shoved his phone in front of me and said urgently, "Lily, you have to see this, these news stories are explosive." I took the phone with confusion, and the striking headlines caught my eye. President of Sterling Hotel surrenders to police, confesses to intentionally harming Sophia Bellwether, and reports that Sophia Bellwether bribed a nurse to murder infants. Sophia Bellwether, who had been missing for days, was found in the basement of the Sterling Hotel president's mansion. Her death was tragic, her entire body was rotten. Preliminary judgment is homicide. First trial verdict, Ethan Sterling sentenced to death according to law. Sterling Hotel stock plummeted, huge losses, his grandmother died, unable to withstand the blow. Mike stood beside me, filled with righteous indignation, and said angrily, "He got what he deserved. He was so heartless to you back then, and now he's finally being punished." With the great revenge avenged, their affairs no longer concerned me. I decided to donate Ethan Sterling's money to the country for cultural relic protection. The heart that had been shattered by Ethan Sterling's ruthlessness was now being mended through cultural relic restoration. Some hatreds are destined to erode in the long river of time. I am very happy to have found myself again. I walked forward to meet Professor